So today we're going to do a battery drain test on the Samsung S24 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 now, but with the latest One UI 8 stable update. And we'll compare it with the One UI 7's battery drain test which I just posted like 2 days ago. And boy, it is interesting. And as usual, no Bluetooth or location is on. Brightness is set to around 30 to 35% in manual mode, with the volume set to around 70 to 80% with Dolby Atmos on in most of these tests. And all of the tests are gonna happen on Airtel 5G as usual. Now I'm shooting this at the night as compared to shooting at the afternoon time for the One UI 7 test. And so the initial temperature here is cooler than the One UI 7 one, as the area temperature is around 27 to 28 degrees Celsius only, compared to around 33 degrees Celsius on the One UI 7. So I've set the speed of the fan at medium, not maximum, just like what I did in the One UI 7 to keep things a little bit fair. And yes, no AC is turned on. Starting off with BGMI for 1 hour, where the initial temperature was around 34 degrees Celsius with a 99% battery life. As I was setting up the frame rate meter, it took away that 1% in that process, but yeah, it's okay, I'm gonna measure it that way. And I'm gonna play 4 TDM matches and a ranked match, all set to smooth plus 120 FPS graphics settings, and this time I'm playing right away in performance mode as I played the first TDM in the One UI 7 test in balanced mode by mistake. And yeah, as soon as the game started I saw the temperature rising, but not that frequently and high as I saw in the One UI 7 one. Like it was staying around 37 degrees Celsius at max during the first TDM, and also I did notice after playing 2 TDM matches that FPS were much more stable than before. Like previously I used to get around 115 to 118 FPS at max in TDM more or less, but now it is staying very close to that 117 to 120 FPS, and it is actually maintaining it much better than in the One UI 7. And so after 4 rounds of TDM the temperature was around 39 degrees Celsius and the battery was around 86%, which I think is higher than last time, but still I started the ranked game anyways. And as Tarnished Soul mentioned, BGMI has restricted the FPS in Erangel to a max of 110 FPS, so thanks to him, and hence it was staying around that 105 to 108 FPS mostly, and was much more stable, which was previously hovering between 100 to 105 FPS in One UI 7. So your performance has increased with better stability, no doubt. And also the temperature was in control, which was hitting around 39 degrees Celsius in most parts of the game at max, even though it's nighttime and cool around my area, but still. So after a good Erangel match, the temperature was now sitting at 39 degrees Celsius and we started at 34 degrees Celsius, so a 5 degree increase, which is similar to what we saw in last time with the One UI 7 update. But the battery was now at 70%, so about a 29% decrease in 1 hour of BGMI compared to last time that dropped 24% only in 1 hour of BGMI. But also now you get better FPS stability, so yeah, you get better performance at the cost of more battery life. Next I started the 1 hour YouTube video at 1080p 30 FPS test with the initial temperature around 37 degrees Celsius and the starting battery of 70%. This will give you an idea if you like to watch YouTube more, and yeah, it has the same volume and brightness levels and the exact same video being played here like in last time, which will show you how well it can handle and how is it compared to the One UI 7 experience. Now one glitch I did notice after updating to One UI 8, that after minimizing a video and then again opening from that, the frame rates were getting extremely choppy for some reason, which didn't happen in One UI 7, even though it only happened like once or twice after updating, but it did happen. And after the 1 hour mark, the temperature was now at 33 degrees Celsius, so decreased by 4 degrees Celsius instead of increasing, with the battery now at 60%, so a 10% drop in 1080p video streaming of 1 hour, which is similar to what we saw in One UI 7 drain test, so not so much changes here. Then I started the 1 hour YouTube Shorts test, since I don't use any social media app, and most of the people who does, they end up watching short contents or reels anyways. And the initial temperature was around 33 degrees Celsius with 60% battery life, so let's see how much it drains the battery, as shorts or reel contents consumes a lot more battery, especially on Instagram. Do you watch short type content or long type content more? Do let me know in the comments. I mostly watch long type of content more. And after 1 hour of shorts watching, the temperature was now at 34 degrees Celsius, so slight increase like last time in One UI 7, but the battery went from 60% to 50% in 1 hour, so a 10% decrease instead of 13% decrease what we saw in One UI 7. So yes, expect a slight better battery life while watching shorts or reels. Next, as almost all of us listens to music more or less throughout the day, I played the exact same playlist on Spotify like last time for about 1 hour with the same volume levels and with a starting temperature of about 34 degrees Celsius and the battery life at 50%. And obviously turned off the display and let it play, as who listens to music while watching the music banner anyways. And so after an hour the temperature was at 33 degrees Celsius, which is pretty expected, and the battery was now at 43%, so only a 7% drop in 1 hour of Spotify listening, which was around 30% last time on One UI 7 testing, so definitely an improvement here also. And then we're gonna do a little 16 threads 15 minutes of thermal throttling with an initial temperature of 33 degrees Celsius and the battery now at 43%. and yes, the graph was looking better and more stable than the last time we tested on the One UI 7, but the temperature was rising constantly like last time, and also the battery was draining alongside. And after the end of the test, the temperature was now at 45 degrees Celsius just like last time, but also it heated more than last time, which was around 9 degrees Celsius temperature increase in One UI 7, but here now it is around 12 degrees Celsius increase. And also last time it consumed 9% of battery, but this time it consumed 10% of battery, as the battery was now sitting at 33%. But yes, see the maximum or average JIP scores, it's much better than before with a much better stability, which shows in any heavy tasks during gaming it will now perform better, but also might consume a little more battery life. After that, I did my 4K 30fps video recording test with my very scientific approach of focusing and refocusing or even lens switching rather than just recording a blank background, and the temperature initially was around 40 degrees Celsius with a battery of 33%, and throughout the test it actually decreased its heating, and after 10 minutes of focusing tests, I did my read the text test for the last 5 minutes with the flash on, and after the test finished, the temperature was now at 37 degrees Celsius and the battery was now at 27%, meaning a 6% battery drop in 15 minutes of 4K recording. Then I did my 30 minutes Pixar editing test with an initial temperature of 35 degrees Celsius and the battery of 27%, and yes, I tried to make a possible thumbnail for this particular video you're watching, and changes will be done as I don't know the SOT yet and I still have things to test. And after a little over 30 minutes of editing, the temperature was now sitting at 36 degrees Celsius, even though I did see the temperature is getting lowered down while editing, but they jumped back up towards the end of the editing, and the battery was now at 21%, so a 6% drop again, similar to that of the One UI test, even though I had finished editing around 24 minutes in last test. Now to test how long can you watch HDR content if you are into that on any platform, I played the same two videos of 4K HDR 60fps for 30 minutes with the same brightness and volume settings at around 35 degrees Celsius initially with a battery of 20% now. And playing HDR content for this phone is a piece of cake as the tuning is done very well, and after 30 minutes of watching, the temperature was now at 36 degrees Celsius with the battery sitting at 12% now, so an 8% drop. And so to drain the 12% of battery, I thought maybe playing a 30 minutes of shots will do it, and if it could, it already would have been better than the One UI 7 in terms of battery life. So initial temperature was around 34 degrees Celsius with 12% battery, and I kept on playing the shots, and I started to feel very tired as I already had a pretty hectic day before and it was getting quite late as you can see the time. And surprisingly, even after 30 minutes of shots playing, it still had about 7% battery left. So I guess the last 10% battery drain is slightly better now, and last time in shots playing of 30 minutes with a 7% battery on the One UI 7, it could barely last around 12 minutes. So obviously there is an improvement here too. But I was getting way too tired to continue watching shots, so instead I did a thermal test at 7% battery with a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius initially, and yeah, it started to drop the battery quickly, and at 5% it dropped the brightness and shifted to 4G, and after around 3 to 4 minutes of stress test it gave up. And I think if I continue to play shots, it could continue another 30 minutes of shots watching easily, or even if I wanted to play a TDM in BGMI, it could have played like at least 1 or 2 TDMs. So the total SOT concluded after this test is around 6 hours plus, like almost 6 hours 30 minutes if I continue to play the shots, which was around 5 hours 42 minutes in my last test with the One UI 7. Yes, my room temperature is a thing to consider, but even then the One UI 8 will give you better battery life than before. The next morning I wanted to do the charging test, and I put the charger on, and the charger is a 15 watts official Samsung charger, even though this phone supports 25 watts. So yeah, obviously it will charge a bit slower than usual, and after 30 minutes of charging it was at around 33%, but I forgot to take the screenshot, sorry for that. And after 1 hour of charging it is around 60%, and surprisingly it took around 1 hour 55 minutes to fully charge this. So I think there is an issue with the charger, or there is some issues because it doesn't take that long to charge, but I will let you guys know the official charging time with the official charger once I get the charger on my hands. But now this is the results. So in short, for most conditions the battery life has improved than the One UI 7 in the One UI 8, and also it sort of managed and controlled the heat better in most conditions. But yes, if you do gaming mode, then it might end your battery more than it used to, but now it is also providing you with a better gaming stability. So for a moderate to heavy user, if you used to get around 5.5 hours of SOT on 5G, then with the One UI 8 you can expect to get around 6 hours of SOT very easily on 5G or even more. So what did you guys think of this test? Do let me know, and watch this one to know the battery drain test of the One UI 7 in details, or this one to know the quick camera review of the S24. Do watch this, and as always till the next one, this was Rideep. See you guys.